There was a time when everything required a voice. Not an external one, an internal one. A quiet but constant commentary that followed every moment like a shadow. Explaining, interpreting, evaluating, not loudly, often gently, but always there. It narrated the day before the day even finished happening. It explained feelings while they were still forming. It named moments before they had a chance to be lived. And for a long time, that voice felt necessary. Felt like orientation, like guidance, like intelligence at work. Without it, things seemed like they might fall apart. But at some point, something subtle began to change. Not dramatically, not with insight fireworks or big realizations. Just quietly. The voice didn't disappear all at once. It didn't get silenced. It didn't lose an argument. It simply stopped being needed in certain moments. First, only briefly, maybe while washing dishes, or driving a familiar route, or standing in line somewhere without reaching for a phone. Moments where life happened without commentary, and nothing went wrong. The hands still moved. The body still knew what to do. The moment completed itself without explanation. That's usually how this begins. Not with understanding, but with absence. A moment where the voice doesn't show up and nothing collapses. At first, the absence feels strange. There's a sense that something is missing, like forgetting your wallet and patting your pockets to check. You wait for the commentary to arrive. It doesn't. And still, the moment unfolds perfectly fine. You notice the weight of a cup in your hand, the temperature of the air, the sound of footsteps nearby. All of it happens without being narrated. It's not peaceful in a dramatic way. It's not profound. It's just ordinary. And that ordinariness is important, because the inner narrator thrives on importance. It thrives on being needed. It justifies itself by saying, someone has to explain this. Someone has to keep track. Someone has to make sense of it. But what begins to become obvious is this: life does not require explanation in order to function. Breathing does not wait for a sentence. Movement does not ask for permission. The body does not pause until a thought approves the next step. The voice believed it was driving, but it was always a passenger. For a long time, that voice felt like identity. Not something you had, something you were. If it stopped, who would you be? That fear kept it running. Said, if I stop talking, you'll disappear. If I stop explaining, there will be no you. But slowly, experience tells a different story. Moments occur where the voice goes quiet, and you don't vanish. In fact, something strange happens. Life feels closer, not clearer, not better, closer, more immediate. You're not watching yourself live. You're just living. And at first, this can feel disorienting, because the narrator wasn't only explaining the world, it was explaining you, who you are, what you're doing, why it matters. When that commentary softens, identity loosens with it, not in a frightening way, more like a coat slipping off your shoulders without effort. You don't lose functionality, you lose commentary, and that difference matters. You still remember things, you still plan, you still respond appropriately, but the sense of someone watching the process begins to fade. There's less checking, less internal approval seeking, less "is this okay?" whispered beneath every action. Things simply happen, and they are enough. At first, the mind might rush back in afterward. It might comment retroactively. It might say, that was peaceful, that was different, that was good. But even those comments begin to lose urgency. They arrive late. They don't grip the experience. They feel like echoes instead of instructions. The narrator used to be early. It showed up before the moment, during the moment, after the moment. Eventually, it only arrives afterward, and sometimes not at all. This isn't silence as an achievement. It's not something you practice. It's something that happens when the system realizes it's safe to stop talking, safe to trust the body, safe to trust the moment, safe to trust life. You begin to notice that most narration was never required. It didn't improve walking. It didn't enhance listening. It didn't deepen connection. Often, it got in the way. It compared moments to previous ones. It judged emotions while they were still unfolding. It labeled experiences before they had time to breathe. Without the narrator, experiences feel unfinished in a different way. Not incomplete, just unedited. A feeling can rise and fall without being turned into a story. Sadness can pass without becoming an identity. Joy can appear without being captured or explained. Neutral moments can remain neutral without being upgraded or criticized. This is where people often expect bliss. But that expectation belongs to the narrator too. What actually arrives is something much quieter. Simplicity. The mind still works. Thought still happens. But it no longer positions itself as the authority over experience. It stops introducing itself into every moment like a host grabbing a microphone. There is less commentary like, I should be feeling more. I should understand this. I should remember this. Life doesn't need to be remembered while it's happening. It only needs to happen. One of the clearest signs the narrator is no longer needed is this. There's no urge to report your experience, even to yourself. You don't mentally recap the day while lying in bed. You don't summarize conversations. You don't internally grade your performance. Things happen, then they're done. Memory still exists, but it's no longer used as proof of self. And that changes the tone of living. There's less pressure to be consistent, less pressure to align with a storyline. You don't need to ask, is this who I am now? Because there's no longer a central narrator constructing a character. There's just behavior, response, presence. The narrator once said, this is meaningful. This is not. This matters. This doesn't. Without it, meaning becomes optional. Not absent, optional. Some moments feel meaningful. Some don't. Neither requires explanation. You don't feel the need to hold onto experiences anymore. You don't feel the need to turn them into insight. Life stops auditioning for understanding. This doesn't make you passive. In fact, action often becomes cleaner. Decisions happen faster. There's less internal debate. Not because you've become reckless, but because the debate was never necessary. You respond based on context, not commentary. The body adjusts. The situation informs the action. The moment completes itself. And afterward, there's no inner voice saying, good job, or that could have gone better. There's just the next moment. This can feel unsettling at first, because the narrator used to provide reassurance. It used to say, this makes sense. This fits. This is who you are. Without that voice, there can be a brief sense of groundlessness. But that groundlessness doesn't last. What replaces it isn't certainty, it's stability. A quiet trust in the fact that life doesn't need to be narrated to be lived. You begin to notice how often the voice spoke just to reassure itself. How often it talked because it was afraid of silence. How often it filled space so nothing unexpected could slip through. Without it, there's more openness. Not mystical openness, practical openness. You listen more fully, not because you're trying to, but because nothing is interrupting. You respond more honestly, not because you've practiced authenticity, but because nothing is filtering the response. You feel emotions more directly, not more intensely, but more cleanly. There's no commentary trying to manage them. Anger doesn't become a problem. Sadness doesn't become an identity. Joy doesn't become a project. They pass through, and the day continues. One of the quietest realizations is this: the narrator was never protecting you from life. It was protecting itself from uncertainty. It wanted predictability. It wanted continuity. It wanted a stable story. Life doesn't offer those things. It offers movement. And once you stop asking life to match a narrative, it becomes much easier to live. This isn't about silencing thought. Thought still appears when it's useful. Planning happens. Problem-solving happens. Memory functions. But thought no longer narrates experience by default. It shows up when needed, then leaves. Like a tool returned to the shelf. The difference is subtle but enormous. Life feels lighter, not because it's happier, but because it's no longer being carried. You're not dragging a commentary behind you. You're not managing an internal audience. There's no one inside asking for explanations. And slowly something settles. A sense of okayness that isn't emotional. Not calm, not joy, just okay. The kind of okay that doesn't need to be named. You might still catch the narrator trying to return. It might say, "This is it. You've arrived. This is the point." But those are just habits. They pass. And the moment continues without them. This is where season 9 begins. Not with answers, not with insight, but with the quiet recognition that the voice you once thought was essential was never required for life to unfold. And when it isn't needed, it rests. And when it rests, life doesn't stop. It simply continues, uncommented, unannounced, and entirely sufficient.